controls. Someone's been watching.
Train to where?
Train
Sorry?
to, yeah, something, I don't know, bussin'? No, that's right. It was a bus to Seoul. That's the movie. But at any rate, Talon looking to roll out here on what is a triple DPS lineup. That's Gogora flexing over onto Farah.
Mango Jai on one of his key picks as well for the Ana, now really creeping into the meta. Green Leaves gonna make a few swaps here. Hoshimi wants to challenge Patapan on the Widow.
Oh man.
That should be a difficult challenge indeed.
Yeah, and at this point, Green Leaves have actually gone for the full triple DPS in their own right. I kind of like going for the double flankers here, given that there's only a Pudo. That's a nice sleep on a Pudo as well. Hoshimi lands his mark there, and 10 able to get the run around of Patapan. It's a really successful opening fight here for Green Leaves. Going to have no trouble cleaning up these last few members and getting the point.
And by the way, targeting really nice. Hoshimi, 3 kills in that, 2 of which was the pharmacy members on the side of Talon Esports, but also got one on a Pudo, who actually got Patapan. It was 10, so you have the Tracer going on the Widow, you have the Widow going on just about everyone else, doesn't take the 1v1 with Patapan, doesn't have to take the 1v1 with Patapan because there are other people that are very important that you do want to get down as well.
That's the thing. I like that Green Leaves are seeking to play this asymmetrically, both in terms of composition and, as we saw in that fight, in terms of execution. And again, it pays off as 50 finds Patapan. Talon are going to have to take a breather here. They do lose 10.
Gogora's also changed over to the Tracer to kind of match 10 a little bit, and the Pharmacy not going to be as effective now that Hoshimi is sniping. CQB and Gogora are going to be slightly behind in ult charge because they are the more fresh swaps.
It's already making his presence known on the Tracer. Gogora has been credited with 2 whole kills, now a 3rd one as well, and a 4th. Gogora just wants to do it all himself. Now Muse is going to get one and Patapan gets another. So with that, Talon grabbed the point.
The guy lives on under 10 HP, gets a health back as well, lives to tell the tale of it, slowly catching up now in terms of getting that ultimate charge up. So is CQB, by the way, with Xerathi falling over in that particular engagement. Scenario was far too low to do much about it. Muse has his ultimate available. Pudo's got the EMP. Talon should be set now to get a decent comeback.
This is honestly pretty good. The fact that Apudo has been able to lead 50 in that EMP charge as well has been significant. 50 has otherwise done a lot of work in these fights. Patapan able to outfox 50 in the 1v1 there, as well as a big change in pace, but Hoshimi does do the same on the other side. It is still Talon ahead in this fight though. Green Leaves looking to just back off, wait for respawners. Ooh, losing Hoshimi in that though is a bit rough.
It's about finding stability for Talon Esports. You know, so far, okay, they were behind early on. 46% is what they have to catch up on. Now they're at 43, so you'll expect them to have caught up now. Pulse Bomb going to miss and go wide. Gogora's still got one available. Both EMPs are up, and both infrasites being used.
I like that from Talon as well. It did buy them some time for Muse to get back, because he did die quite late, and now he's been able to rejoin the team. Nice Pulse Bomb just sort of tossed out, trying to threaten the back line. A little Scenario alone on the point. He's going to get drilled down here a little bit further forward than what his team was able to back up. Gogora lives on literally 1 hit point there. That is as low as he got in that, and that is absolutely incredible. Now it just gets unleashed, dishes it back out, knocks down Cloud, and Talon retained possession of the point.
The man who will just not die on this pick no matter what you do to him. Green Leaves now using their resources. Talon pushing back with their own. Hoshimi's thrown in the towel. He's saying, not going to take this Widow fight anymore. Wants to go into Brigida. This is the better counter considering what Talon are able to run here. But now that this has happened, if Gogora wants to, he can go back onto fire. You can make your changes. And for Patapan, just has to try and survive.
Under pressure, but is able to get out. I'm just trying to put out the pressure. They need to start getting onto this point. I like the forward pressure here from Muse. They're going to make Green Leaves fight just to touch this, and CQB looking to get someone over the edge. Doesn't quite find it in the rotation, and actually 50 opens up with a kill. Patapan pressured low. Is going to be forced out of the fight. Sound barrier from CQB is there, but Talon don't really have any good ways of getting back into this fight, short of Apudo just popping off, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So Talon just going to have to let the point go here.
And this time, honestly, Talon doesn't need to try and stay alive too hard on this point. They have 99% already. Green Leaves are just approaching 50 now. Talon could have probably saved the sound barrier, but they want to go fishing. They want to see what can we get with this one. 3-man on that sound barrier. Gogora dies finally. That might actually be his first death on the Tracer so far, and unable to put out that extra damage means for Talon, like you said, Apudo had to be the one to carry, but he couldn't do so, so Talon now have to give that one up, try and retake, and try and do what they can with the little ultimates that they have as 50 is about to get his next EMP.
Certainly wouldn't put it past Talon to just frag out here. Gogora's Pulse Bomb goes wide and he gets slapped. They do still pick up 50, and Muse able to play point guard on Gogora there to keep him alive. Xerathi eats a mine and ends up getting finished off, and Cloud's still under pressure from Gogora here. Nobody's able to drop back and help him. He eventually goes down to that, and credit to the rest of Talon to not lose the remainder of the fight while those two were off dealing with Cloud. If anything, they've been winning it, and now Green Leaves just in a lot of trouble here as Talon nicely on the point, but Good EMP to try and get this one back under control for Green. Leaves Apudo down. Talon's still looking for those extra few kills. They've been in control of the fight, but now respawns will come in.
We need to wait for Apudo to get back to the point here because he's got an ultimate available. Mango Giant already used the nano boost earlier.
Oh, this is going so back and forth now. Muse trying to keep pressure on the point. Needs another minefield. That is a great EMP from Apudo.
Gagora has to carry.
Before he goes down, but like you said, it's now down to only Muse and Gagora. Gagora's got a pulse bomb. Muse nearly has the minefield, but no, they end up going down to Sonairo's minefield, and Green Leaves end up barely keeping control of the point in that protracted engagement that they were actually losing for the longest time.
And guess what? Points on the board now. We talked about having a tally up for Green Leaves. Well, Wave 1 survived. In some cases, you would consider that one to be the earliest and the easiest of this Horde mode survival versus Talon. However, how do we transition forward? Because we had a great start from Green Leaves. They had the good matchup. They saw what Talon were running on the DPS side. They saw that we wanted to go onto our own Widowmaker to challenge their pharmacy, not necessarily to challenge Padapan on the other side. Talon then made their own swaps, putting their pharmacy combo into the ground, putting Gagora onto the Tracer instead. Had pretty good success onto that one. Unfortunately, put too much into a losing fight at the 99% mark and then never found a good way to come back. And so Talon now, you need to see them start on the correct foot and not be at a deficit.
And unfortunately, it feels like Talon aren't quite on the ideal foot here. You would like to see Padapan on the Widowmaker. More really for the sake of pressuring Hoshimi and Xerafi than for taking the 1v1 with 10, but Talon could still just have success on the ground game with this competition.
We'll see how Talon want to adapt to this one as well. You see Hoshimi now in the skies. Tenor will be sniping as the Widowmaker. Point 1 locks in. There's a lot of flanks on Talon's side, and man goes down.
10 makes his presence firmly felt, and Muse has not quite been able to keep him under enough pressure just yet. Now Muse having to run back to his own team. The question is, if Talon don't win this fight, when do they make the swap?
Well, they have a lot of players under pressure. Padapan was chunked out and hacked. Apudo's on half, so is Muse and Gagora, so Talon need to be able to contest, and they finally have a player to work with.
Yeah, Padapan getting that done is really huge. It just opens up the backline as well. That is the power of the tied DPS duo. Apudo also making his presence felt in the 1v1, but frankly, Padapan has populated the kill feed a little bit more now, so Talon recovering very handily from the early loss of Mango Jai. As soon as they unlock those DPSs, it is dynamite.
And it's a parallel to how Gagora played the early stages of City Center, or rather downtown as well. We saw early string of kills, 3-4 in a row. Padapan has done the exact same thing. Doesn't go down, receives a bit of pressure, is able to relieve that pressure off of himself, works with Apudo as the double flankers here. Both of them now have ultimates available, and Green Leaves are going to be making some swaps. Hoshimi back on a Brigida. We'll see how both Talon want, or Padapan and Apudo rather, want to handle that player.
Well, they're going to handle it with an EMP and a great pulse bomb. Even though it doesn't get kills in its own right, it gets these otherwise very tanky members low enough to be finished off by these members. It's an expensive ultimate investment, but it does mean that Talon can swap if they want to, but I don't even think they want to.
Honestly, I think that was the best possible use of pulse bomb. You don't want to see it come up on the kill feed. What you do want to see is the 300 damage being distributed amongst all the tanks. They're all chunked down now, and everybody gets to pile the rest of the damage in to clean up the kills so you can get more ultimate charge in there. That's why Apudo's back on 23. That's why Padapan's back on 56 after just using a pulse bomb.
This guy's absolutely incredible. Apudo does take a little bit of pressure here. 50 does have his own EMP, but the area denial from Muse is really going to hamper 50's ability to commit that. In fact, the only caught, I believe, just a one member is still able to confirm some kills, though, and taking Apudo out of the picture. This is starting to get rougher and rougher now for Talon, and this may just be the one where they have to give it over. Muse does not want to go down without a fight, though, and he does still have Mango Jida's back. Padapan with a second pulse bomb in a short amount of time.
Nano's coming.
Talon is still very much in this. The Nano can keep Muse alive. In fact, they decide to commit to that passenger plate, and it pays off. It at least trades one for Padapan, now gets another, and this is with the respawners coming in. Apudo is back in the fray after being knocked out of it much earlier on. Talon are going to retain possession here at past 90%.
And they've already put in resources. They already put the pulse bomb in there. They probably would have used the sound barrier if CQB was alive. Mango Jai puts the nano boost, and you could tell they were trying to survive. 99, one member down for Green Leaves. Unlikely for them to come back.
Gagora going onto the Brigida is the right pick here as well. They know that Green Leaves are just going to be barreling for the points, and that means Gagora can just pick them one by one with the stuns. And you already see that coming into effect. The area control from the minefield out of Muse as well. And Talon, after unfortunately dropping downtown, end up walking away with an easy, breezy 100-0 on Sanctuary.
And this time around, unfortunately, the wave is too strong. Green Leaves will be backing up a little bit, giving up their first stronghold, giving it the first line of defense. Talon now, that was very dominant, especially in the middle there where we see the EMP come through from 50, you see green leaves, that probably should have been the fight that they win. Talon already lost 2 members. It's 6v4. Muse does not die. Mango Joe's pocketing him. Bio nades in there. Nano boost to follow. Couple trades come through by players like Patapan, and suddenly things start to turn around. Muse is also getting kills, and you're starting to believe, okay, Talon is actually going to win this fight. Not only are they winning, but because they already have control of the point, they're going to be stacking up on the percentage points as well. Suddenly they're at the 99% overtime, and Green Leaves do not have a win condition they can use.
Now we go into Mecha Base, and I'm actually surprised that it's not a Pudo playing the May special. Instead, it's going to be Green Leaves rolling out on what you can only call a clockwork.
Is that a CV? It's about as close as you get. Usually you'd probably see, instead of a Sombra here, one of the snipers, Hanzo or Widow, but hey, you'll take it, especially on this map. Probably do want to play the Sombra. Otherwise, it's as close as you can get. It's got the Torb, it's got the May, it's got the Orisa Hog.
It's the right map for it as well, just with the area control and pressure they can put out, the disruption that they should be able to do to Talon. They need to actually make good on that compositional promise. Unfortunately, losing Cloud early. Gogora able to flex his chops on the Zarya now. And Talon have already got possession of the point. Green Leaves now going to have to push back onto it. They lose Sonairo. And I think Green Leaves are already going to decide to make some changes here. This is not going the way they want it to. Even 50 going to get dropped down. They did not have any of the disruption that they were hoping to have.
And so this is the thing. You need to be finding a hook combo very early on. Get yourselves a pick. Get yourselves into 6v5, because otherwise, how do you contest this point? Yes, you're going to hold the high ground. That's fantastic. But once the point actually unlocks, Talon starts walking on there, you need to be able to challenge them. You have a member go down super early. I think Cloud, was he playing the Torb? One of them was. He goes down. Green Leaves are now 5v6. They have even less of a chance to actually contest. Talon are not going to fight you on the high ground now, which is where the Mave would have been good. Unfortunate for Green Leaves, they're going to have to do a big reset, and they got a new comp.
It's really rough. They've already given away 40% of the points, and Talon just take the freebie here. Maybe didn't even need the Shadow when all said and done, but Muse will take it. He'll clean up a bunch more kills, clean up 4 of these kills. In fact, 50 the only person to get out alive. So already 50% on the board for Talon, looking really hard to dislodge here.
And it's starting to look a little unwinnable here as well. I know it's early to call, it's 55% in all for Talon Esports, but EMP's available, Grav will be coming after that. Muse you'd expect to have an Earthshatter later on once he gets past the other ultimates and gets charged back in. And Green Leaves, because they had to make this big swap, got nothing.
Patapan gets an amazing EMP in the rotation on Green Leaves. Gogora maybe didn't need to commit that, but what's done is done, and it's not like Talon are really falling behind in terms of ultimates. Green Leaves still haven't been able to catch up. Okay,
so the good news is Muse is only at 29%. Likely you would have wanted him to be at about 80 now. That would have been much safer. Earthshatter being online is a big deal. Green Leaves have to kind of get their own ultimates of online as well, because Sonairo's not really that far ahead of Muse, and in fact Muse is slowly catching up as well.
The one to leverage would actually be Nano Boost. Cloud has to wait out the hack first, and now Sonairo's down, so he's got to nano someone else. And
did someone receive it?
I believe it does still go off. I just don't know where. It might have gone on to 10 maybe, but what's not on is Green Leaves on the point. Talon with a second 100-0, and suddenly downtown is all but forgotten.
And this time around, it looks far too easy. It was really one-sided. I mean, you could consider that, okay, Sanctuary was somewhat competitive, where
the zombies took over, though.
I mean, they were a decent amount. Well, I mean, you're now backing up. What's really happening is, you know, it's a kind of, I'm making this game mode up as I go, where you're giving up different parts of your own defense. So by the time we get to the 4-0, you're going to be completely overtaken.
Oh, yeah.
But as it is right now, we had a nice competitive early downtown round where Talon, unfortunately, didn't quite get the matchups they wanted early on. Patapan super under pressure as a Widowmaker. Apuda went down quite a few times early as well. Great round overall from the side of Green Leaves, where they found, I think, what was working quite well for them. Unfortunately, later on, they weren't quite on the mark for Sanctuary. They were reasonably far behind. Patapan was running amok. You go to Mecha Base, where the open and gambit on the CV was sadly completely dismantled. They got nothing out of it, had to swap 5-6 of their entire composition, only kept the Sombra, reset all their ultimates. Meanwhile, the ult economy for Talon was well and truly into gear. Gravs, EMPs, Earthshatters, the whole lot.
To the point where in 2 of those fights, they were able to, I would say, strictly speaking, overcommit in ultimates. They probably didn't need to use the Shadow in the first one. They probably didn't need to use the Grav in the second one. And even then, it still didn't have a long-lasting impact because they were actually just that far ahead in terms of the ultimate economy. I mean, you've really got to say that, like, Mecha Base was way less close than even Sanctuary, and Sanctuary was 100-0. So I don't know. I feel like the zombies only get stronger as time goes by, as more
they're converting more.
Well.
More of those sad civilians, unfortunately, get converted over. And the thing is, as well, you're starting to look at, you were talking about ult economy. That's very important to note, because the entire time after the CV, after the Clockwork comp with the Arista and Hog, after they swapped to the regular 3-3 Goats or the 3-2-1 with the Sombra, you never saw them get a grab. You never saw them get an Earth Shadow. They lost the fight so quickly that Sonairo and 10 died. You know, they would die so fast and never got a chance to charge up anything. Your Azaria, you're not even getting energy because you're just going in, you're dying. Sonairo's dying as well. You're taking all this damage. There's so many ultimates on the side of Talon, even where Muse doesn't get a great amount of charge on one fight, suddenly then overtakes Sonairo, who is yet to even get his first shadow. So,
and that's the difference between Talon and these other teams, realistically speaking, is honestly their macro is, you know, that little bit slicker. Their execution is that little bit tighter. Their target prioritization is that little bit cleaner. And when you put all of that together, you end up with two really one-sided looking 100-0s on Busan. I mean, at this point, you'd almost call the 99-99 the blip in that, the anomaly. And look, I'll even give credit where it's due. It's not like Talon played particularly poorly there or anything. Actually, Green Leaves really did play well. They showed what they're capable of. The only problem is, you can also look at that in the context of that's one composition on one map out of 3, and that's only the first total map of the series at large.
And I think what you can get out of the downtown map as well is you can sort of just see that, okay, when they have the right sort of the 1v1 maps, not technically 1v1s, but when they had the right kind of target priority in terms of who's meant to be going for who. You're not trying to 1v1 Patapan here, you're trying to go for the Pharmacy Duo. You have your flankers take down Patapan instead, you're pressuring Apudo, so you're doing all the right things. Things seem okay, but it's about the consistency. So how long can you do that for? And we got a whole series ahead of us. We still got map 2 coming up as well. Can you now maybe do something on the second map, which will be on the hybrid game mode? So let's not waste too much time. Let's find out a bit more about that as well.
Or Assault.
Welcome to Hanamura. This is Assault. 2 teams face off as either defenders or attackers. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to capture 2 objectives. First A, and then B. To capture an objective, the attackers need to stand within its range for a set amount of time. Defenders can delay capture progress by also standing in range. To resume capture, the attackers must force the defenders off the objective by any means necessary. If successful, they score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. Now the fight moves to objective B. If even one attacker is on an objective when the clock runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until either team is cleared away. The round ends when the attackers capture both objectives, or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points wins.
You know what? You did right. It is Assault. Sorry, I'm on autopilot here. It has been a hybrid second map for years in a row, but you know what? It's going to be Assault now. It's going to be Temple of Anubis. Assault, hybrid is a little bit later on Hollywood, as you can see, than Havana even after that. But as of right now, I guess the point still stands. Consistency is key. You had some measure of success on downtown. Can you translate that anywhere else?
Temple of Anubis, the only map with noob in the title.
And not even spelt the way you'd think.
Oh. Like, spelled like nub.
Nub, exactly. It's very different.
It's totally...
Temple of
Anubis. I mean,
Anubis.
some people do spell it that way, like when they're trying to be even edgier than calling someone a noob, is you do it, but you spell it badly, which never made sense to me, because then, like, the person saying it looks like the idiot rather than the newbie. Like, I don't really... Sometimes I just feel like my dad, just like challenged by the internet and not understanding at all what's going on. That's really...
You know, I met your dad, you're nothing like your
most
dad,
of that. Thank you. That's actually a compliment.
At least not now. Well, we'll see what happens in 30 years.
Yeah, you can talk to me. I'll have an Amex card. Well,
what you can have is a bunker cop from Talon on the defense. Widowmakers on both sides now. Patapan probably wants to be able to find some of these 1v1s. If Hashimi doesn't want them, well, Patapan does.
Yeah, Greenleaf's just like, wait, hold up. They are just looking to lean more or less into dive. I mean, they do have the third DPS in here. They've got the Widowmaker still on, and see if it gets any mileage. It's dead.
Yep, you hear the whizzing of the first bullet fly past your face, and the second one is going to go right between the eyes. And this is Patapan now finding his mark. And for Talon, well, first shot successful. Greenleaf's going to wait a little bit to get their players back.
It's like that dude in Saving Private Ryan. A bullet bounces off his helmet, so he takes off the helmet to look at the scratch mark, and then he gets shot in the forehead.
Oof.
That's what Hashimi just experienced there. It's a good movie, you should see it. But now Talon still kind of on knockdown. What a sleep on 50, and meanwhile the rest of the team having no issue dealing with Scenario on the other side of the fight. Jen's actually going to be the first one to go down there. Scenario's had to back out because of all the pressure, and Greenleaf's just struggling to find a foothold.
They can't even get flankers past me. The fact that they even have their Sombra sleeping on the point or off the point, the fact that Mango Jai can land that shot and Greenleafs can't even set up this sort of flank play where they can have the pincer there, things are just not going well on any part.
Whoa,
not that one either.
There it is. Now, sleep earlier was sober. I just can't get over there. Like, I feel like he's missing a D in his name. It should be Man God Jai.
It certainly seems like it's not too far off.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, not kidding you. he finds the Sombra on the other side and Patapan cleans up the kill easily.
You know what?
Effortlessly.
He feels like a really effective bloodhound or something, like a hunting dog, where he's like, I found him, and then you can come over and kill it.
Collecting all the rabbits or something. Greenleaf's now, again, just struggling to get any foot on this defense so far. Can't get a flank on there, can't get past Widowmaker, can't get past Anna either, can't get past Mango Jai, right? Aputo's now nearly on that Riptire. 50 is, he's been shot down twice. He had to go through an infra site. Just hasn't had a lot of time to play the game.
Oh, that's an absolutely gross tire, and Greenleafs could hear it coming. They knew there was nothing they could do about it. Even finding an exit kill on 10 is nice.
If this really is, attacking Omaha Beach or something, you got the artillery shells now out there. Aputo is just dropping the bombs on.
And the difference is the attackers won. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case, at least not at this rate.
They're bringing up soldiers.
Certainly still enough time, and they are starting to come up on ultimates, notably EMP plus Nanoblade. Even if they don't get it this fight, they should have it for the one after, and they should have time for all of that as well.
This is the part of the zombie film where you've been defending the whole time, but now it's like, no, you have to go through the zombie-filled mall to get to the safe place on the other side, and you're like, well, don't know about that one. Don't know if we can survive this time.
I feel like you've just been playing a bunch of Left 4 Dead 2 or something. Scenario's already down in the rotation, 10 as well, and like I said, they will still have an opportunity for another push after this one, and they'll be thanking their lucky stars that is the case. They will have to do it through the likes of the Molten Core. That is what it's called, but Supercharger's already out of the way. It's at least something.
And by the way, Greenleafs actually have ultimates now. We're more than 3 minutes into this offense so far, 40 seconds remaining on that attack timer. You're now starting to see the first few ultimates. If they don't get it now, they won't get it at all because we've spent 3 minutes just to build up to these ults, just to get this fight, and it's not even guaranteed yet because guess what? Molten Core is going to shut down a lot.
There's going to be the EMP. They've got the Nanoblade. They have found Patapan with it. They're looking for more. Looking for Mango Jai now. Looking to get that sleep is what he's doing. And he's already got so much pressure on 10. He actually kills off 10, and 50 goes down to the turret as well. Sonairo gets slept, and it just falls to bits for Greenleafs. The one push that you're going to get where everything is up, all ultimates online. They've finally found another kill here on Mango Jai. They finished off Aputo as well. They may just still be in business here with the sound barrier from Xerafi, but what should have been a really clean take here has ended up becoming an absolute slog.
Well, let's not really close the door just yet because there are kills on both sides. Now, Greenleafs have the player advantage. You'd expect them to be able to eventually take this point, and, well, maybe they'll actually get past the opening lobby to get through all the stores.
Like I said, what should have been a clean take just turns into a slog. Credit for them. Actually carry the point here. It does keep things alive. But it will still be a similar slog, I imagine, through point B.
And credit to Hashimi to get the first 2 kills to enable the player advantage that eventually starts working for Greenleafs, where we are in overtime. So if you are Talon trying to recontest here, not only is your spawn distance longer, but now you're spawning slower as well. So it's very difficult to get more players back in to try and get these counter trains. And Aputo uses higher in there, slightly unsuccessful. He actually gets a couple members, so you'd say that reasonably successful, but going to this next B phase defense, Greenleaf's fresh composition, no more ults now except for the Nano, and they got to play up against a Junkrat who is just shelling them from above.
I really like the Doomfist here as well. Talon are just looking to disrupt Greenleaf's in rotation as much as possible, because in theory, that is when they should be at their most vulnerable, especially if they've eaten some spam damage from the Junkrat that Patapan can then finish off. So Greenleafs are going to have their work cut out for them.
And this is a tough place for Greenleafs to be, because now you're starting to think, okay, can we run, what is this now, 3-2-1 comp? They're thinking, okay, maybe go the Originals 10, go the Sombra, let's play Hans, let's do something else, because if you are going to play Ryan Zarya, this rotation-based gameplay, we want to get to the point, you're going to eat a ton of damage from Pudo, who now has Taya. It's going to be far too difficult. Pudo wasn't the key damage dealer on A defense, he is now for B, based on what Greenleafs are running.
I do kind of like this change, though, for Greenleafs. Still behind, though, and will be for a while. Good pick on Mango Jai, though. Ty's going to throw a spanner in the
Holt
works,
wasn't
no matter
there,
how you slice it. The res of Mango Jai anyway, and Greenleafs just end up copping a loss.
And that was always going to be a tough one. They were going to push into a bunch of ults. They needed to use that to kind of dry push and charge their ultimates. So it's a recharging phase for them, but they don't have a lot of time because they spent so long capping A. There's not this bank to work with to eventually get to B, where you start to feel like, okay, if we just have the time to build up ultimates, we will eventually cap B. They don't have a tick on B. They barely have anything to work with, and Talon still are stacked.
And even then, when they did that on A, it wasn't even the big bank of ultimates that finally got them through it. They just sort of ended up slogging their way through. But on B, that's less possible because of the respawn advantage for the defenders. And that's to say nothing of the fact that they might not even get a chance to approach the point at this rate. 1:45 left on the clock, and Patapan's just going to have a quick snooze. He's going to be all right, though.
You do see Talon kind of pushed up there. The rest of Talon weren't that far forward. Patapan would be in a lot of trouble, but as it stands, I mean, they're just cleaning up kills.
I mean, it's a cute hack on Patapan, but it's not like he could be finished off on his own there. And then the sleep on Gagora, similarly, there's no one left alive to finish him off. So Talon just getting away with murder here, really.
The malevolent humming of Junkrat, Pudo's character there as well. You can hear in the background. Greenleafs have about 1 and maybe a half attempts left. They don't have EMP yet. They don't have too many important ultimates. Maybe the Dragon Strike can do some damage, but speaking of damage, Molten Core still up, Supercharge is available, Tire's up for Talon.
That's already a nice pick onto Gagoris. This is a bit of a way in. The Tire, though, should disrupt that. They need to kill this. Should have been spotted by now, and Aputo's just looking for something. Yeah, they are going to be able to finish off the Tire, so this is a window here for Greenleafs.
Yep. At the same time, though, they did survive in terms of, like, okay, Greenleafs, the waste a bit of time, they're looking for Tire. They're all pushing in quite rapidly now.
Dragon Strike does cut the team in half, but Greenleafs haven't quite found their way in just yet. Nice catch on Muse here, and Greenleafs looking for a few more, starting to fall short of the mark as the res comes in for Muse. Feels like the wind's been taken a little bit out of Greenleafs' sail. They find a Pudo, though, so they're still not done. But they're also not really pressuring the point. They need to decide now, are we committing? Are we backing out? They decide commit because they do not have the time.
And this time as well, when you do get to the overtime phase of this, Talon had the respawn advantage major to Greenleafs. Unless they can get a huge string of kills, they need to maintain this player lead they have.
I mean, that is one, and it's a decent one, but a Pudo just smacks one back. Still just doing so much work on the Junkrat. Probably shouldn't have been going for the Airborne Mercy. That's not a kill you're likely to get, but the rest of Talon are staying alive on this point. The Nano Booster, the Patapan tops off his health. It is buying Talon more time, more boots on the point, more kill pressure, and Patapan pays that one back by finding 50. Stun onto Cloud, he's going to go down. I believe that was a hurt. Even with the counter trades coming in, it's starting to feel like it just might not be enough for Green.
Tire's coming.
If the EMP can't finish it off, then I don't think anything will. The Tire drops Sonairo. They're struggling to keep pressure on here. The overtime so quick if it runs out, and Talon have just barely maintained enough members on the point at all times. Greenleafs never quite getting enough kills.
That was close, so you got to give it to Greenleafs. They capped A in what seemed like an impossible scenario, impossible circumstances. They ran out of ultimates, had to play into the overtime. Hashimi got 2 kills that allowed them to start making attempts on B. Most of the attempts on B were unfruitful. They got completely denied on rotations, had to swap compositions, took a long time to get their ultimates, very similar to what we saw in A actually, except this time around, once the overtime does come into effect, they no longer have any sort of advantage, no respawn advantage, no nothing. The kills slowed down very rapidly. It did feel like for some time, okay, it's possible, maybe they get a few more kills here, maybe Talon stop making trades, and then Greenleaf's fully cap the map. They got a tick and more, nearly 2 ticks, I believe, so it's good, but we're not going to see a time back.
I'll tell you what, though. Getting the tick is also something we should give them credit for here. I don't know if it quite counted up to 2 ticks, but it was certainly in the 60-ish% mark that they got to, and they have it 63.1%. So what we do know is either it'll be won or lost, and the reality is Greenleafs have at least given themselves an opportunity to win by getting some progress on B. If they themselves can pull off a full hold, then they do take the map.
And again, you know, we stack the, I guess, expectations of Talon so high, the bar is set so high for them, as they are the best team currently. The goalpost has shifted so far back. They are expected to completely dominate at all places, in all facets, in every single scenario. So the fact that we have an A cap by Greenleafs, a tick and a half taken on B, I'd say it's been pretty good for them so far. The question now is, can they translate that into something meaningful? Because the other measuring stick here is, can Greenleafs get a map? Is there somewhere in these 4 maps that Greenleafs takes one?
And in a way, this is the most achievable, partially because it's not going to go to time bank. Like we sort of said, there's, if they full hold, they win. But I'll be honest, with 50 dead at the start,
it is
looking grim.
A big slowdown, because that's now going to be your EMP already behind. Aputo's getting some damage in there. He's already got a flank, and you can see Greenleafs, they're very far back. They've lost a lot of positioning.
And I mean, Talon are already pressuring the point. They have been this entire time. 2 for 2 there in that little passage of play. 50 should have rejoined, indeed he has by now. So Talon do have to take pause for a moment, but I guarantee it'll be only for a moment.
And the thing is, okay, once we wait for respawners, Talon have the closer respawns. They have more players can come in quicker. They got more trades coming through now as well.
Hadapan just doing so much work, just kind of parkouring his way from rooftop to rooftop, finding members as he goes. Now just dives in, finds Hashimi, gets the finish off on that one. And I mean, Genji's a ninja, but Hadapan really makes it feel that way.
And by the way, how many heroes does he play on the DPS role as well? He's played just about everything, including the Zarya, which is now you're technically placed in the DPS position.
Played Lucio as a DPS.
The thing is, like, the guy's played so many different heroes in this position, it's unreal. He is a cornerstone of flexibility for the Talon roster, and now pushing into B with 6 minutes and 30, you expect them to easily now get the 2 ticks required.
Wow, Cloud still ends up going down there. It looked for a moment like he might be able to get back alive. But the Biotic Grenade from Mango Jai really helps out there. Speaking of which, counter dive onto Mango Jai is going on right now, but with the Biotic Grenade that lands there, plus Talon pulling back to help him save his bacon, even that doesn't work out. So you see Talon able to dive in, find Cloud. Greenleafs unable to do the same to Mango Jai, and now absolutely wiping the floor with Greenleafs. It's not going to be Greenleafs' map to take away. It is going to be Talon ultimately just breezing through both of those points.
Now that we've decided it's a zombie horde game mode, well, let's just say that in this case, on the Talon side of things, it's not just regular grunts of zombies. They're all the special kinds. It's all the real boss types.
Like,
it's all
the ones that explode, the ones that move fast.
They're all like 7 elite zombies. Like every single one of them.
It's like a parkour zombie for some reason. That's the Genji. That's Hadapan.
One of them snipes you. I don't understand anymore.
Long range zombie.
It's not fair. It's really not fair. Get to be undead. You can't kill them.
It swings its arm and its hand detaches and hits you in the head. That's how it works. Sniper zombie.
2-1 again. So not only do we not go to time bank, but realistically, once we got to, I would say, the money phases here, where the business end of this entire map, where on B, okay, it was quite uncompetitive and somewhat competitive. When you start to look at how Talon just waltzed their way through both A and B, took those in one attempt each, or one continuous attempt, you could probably say. Very simple from them. Defense, you would have probably somewhat likely have seen them complete a hold on to A. That was, I would say, in some ways disappointing based on how far they pushed and how dominant it was for 3 minutes and 20 seconds in a row. At the 40-second mark for A, you're looking at the Greenleaf side and you're thinking they finally have ultimates. This is it.
Yeah.
They didn't even win with those ultimates. They actually won from Hashimi getting 2 picks, and that's what they needed.
And even then, barely.
Exactly. And it's like, if that didn't happen, you probably expected a hold to come through as well. So in some ways, you do give Greenleafs a bit of credit to say, okay, got a couple of points on the board now, but the question still remains, can you win a map? Where does that happen? Because we are seeing minor success. Now we need to look to translate that into major success as we're about to head into the halftime breaks. 2 maps done in a row. 2 more maps still to come through, but that will all happen right after this.